The Geek Speak Show is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
This is the Geek Speak Show with Henry San Miguel. Interviews, reactions, and discussions about almost everything in geek culture, especially things you may not have heard about in your social media feeds. Like what? Keep listening. This episode is sure to introduce you to something new. Here's your host, Henry San Miguel.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Speak Show, or I guess as Shanclen would say, aho, young, well, not geek speakers, that would be us, aho, geek listeners. We'll come up with something. Now, if you were with us a couple weeks ago on the Issues of the Day episode, I told you all that November was going to be a short month. Well, at least for us here on the Geek Speak Show. There was no new episode last week, by the way, in case you were wondering, hey, did I miss an episode? No, you didn't. We just didn't do one. And there also will not be a new episode next week because of Thanksgiving. And now we're not getting lazy. That's just how it's always been here on the Geek Speak Show around this time. Around when we hit Halloween, we usually go into holiday mode. You know, some of us go on vacation. We travel to go visit our family or be with our families over Thanksgiving, over Christmas and New Year's. So because of that, usually we do what we used to call best of shows, which are basically just repeats, or we do something else. Where I'm not going to do that this year, because honestly, Shanclen and me just don't want to do that. So we're not going to not do new episodes. So I'm going to tell you all later what we're going to do. Right now, let me get right to the guests, because they're going to be some fun guests. So let me get to the guests now, and I'll give you all the details on what we're going to do over the holidays in just a moment. If you frequent social media at all, which I'm willing to bet you do, I'm sure you saw how Tom Felton was received in his return to Broadway to once again portray Draco Malfoy. It was a standing ovation if you haven't seen it. The long standing ovation and loud. It sounded like Hall H, quite honestly, on Broadway. Now, even his on-screen dad, Jason Isaacs, he showed up to support him, which was pretty cool to see. Well, this coming Friday, November 21st, you're going to have another reason to cheer for Tom Felton, as you're going to be able to see him in a very different and heroic role as Leon in a new film called Altered. It's going to be in select theaters and also available on demand on VOD. Now, because Tom Felton's, let's say, a little busy at the moment, he wasn't able to join me to talk about the film, but I am joined by the director of the film, Timo Vueronsola, and one of the stars of the film, Elizaveta Bugulova, who plays Chloe in the film. Welcome, Timo and Lizzie. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Absolutely great.
Yeah, thanks.
Fascinating and very exciting to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. So, Timo, let me start with you, actually. Tell us without spoiling anything, tell us what Altered is about and what inspired you to write and direct this film.
Sure. I mean, this whole project started. I was starting to think about like stories, science fiction stories. I wanted to go back into the science fiction world and tell a science fiction story. And I started to do a bit of research on which direction the world is going. What are some of the things in the zeitgeist that are sort of popping up? And this idea of genetic alterations on humans was something that really stuck with me, especially with the fact that is a field of technology that is approaching very fast. And we humans are very easily giving out a lot of our sort of ourselves out to others to decide or define what kind of a perfect human we would like to be. So I started to think about this world and this sort of story in a way that what would it be in a world where there is a genetic divide? There are people who have this sort of genetic enhancements who've made themselves sort of a human 2.0, but then there is a part of the people who haven't for whatever reasons. And how would that divide look? And that started to really spark the story of Altered. And that's basically the main theme of the film is like this divide and people struggling to fight against the sort of oppressive majority to get their equality and them accepted as part of the people.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always, and this audience really loves about any science fiction stories. Star Trek comes to mind right away, but it's that, yes, it looks cool, it's futuristic, but the human element always comes in. Without giving it away, it definitely shows it in Altered. So I'm sure all of you will like that when that comes out. I have seen it, by the way, and great job for you guys. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but Lizzie, for you, what drew you to the role of Chloe?
So when I first read the script, I was drawn to Chloe's fearlessness in expressing her emotions and opinions, and I think that that's something that makes her very, very special to me and for hopefully the audience. I feel like I know how much she cares for the people closer to her and how important it is for her to just show them how much she really cares about them. And I also think that another characteristic point that really drawn me to the character is her drive to make the world better, even in small ways. I think that this wish to make the world a better place is very important, and it kind of portrays Chloe as a really independent and determined person, and I think that that's what makes her special.
Yeah, and honestly, I would throw in realistically, because you're right, without, again, getting into too many details. Unfortunately, the way the world is today, yeah, a lot of people are going to identify definitely with Chloe and wanting to fix the world and not being able to. So yeah, I like how you said that. Now you and Tom Felton, you definitely give off a big brother, little sister vibes. Did you guys spend any time before the shoot developing that, or did it just develop organically while you were filming?
The first time we met, it was our first table read, and I remember the moment we met, everything was so exciting. I was so nervous meeting him. I was so worried. I didn't know, what am I gonna tell him? What are we gonna talk about? How is it gonna be? But then when we met, the moment we saw each other, the moment we started talking, that we're gonna have a great bond between us, and that the movie is gonna get wonderful, and everything, just the process is going to be absolutely terrific. And I think that thanks to Tom, he's a very supportive partner, and our chemistry grew. It was built up already when we just met, because we just clicked together, and I think that while we were working on the movie, we did indeed have a growth to our chemistry, and I think it was beautiful. And thanks for Timo who created such a comfortable environment for us on the set, and we were just so happy to collaborate, all of us. And I think that's the fun. I think that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're being calm about it now because I think you're used to it at this point. But in the press notes for the film that I got, it mentions that how you were a Harry Potter fan, and Draco Malfoy was your favorite character. So this audience especially understands that part, because when we go to conventions or something, we meet the actors, we, as we say, we fanboy out and we get all excited. When you first met him for the first time, did you have a fangirl moment at all during that time?
Obviously. In fact, somewhere in my phone gallery, I have a video of myself wearing a Slytherin cape and saying the iconic line from the Harry Potter movie, training for the ballet Potter. And obviously it was such a wonderful experience for me. And Tom he's just such a kind, wonderful person. I was so glad to work with him. I'm so grateful for his support. And I did, in fact, have a fangirl moment there. And I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, I'm sure most of us would have too. Now Timo, did you always have Tom in mind to play Leon, or and if you did, why him?
Well, the thing is, I did definitely when I started to sketch out the character of Leon. Tom was absolutely on the top of my wishes. Obviously, knowing him from Harry Potter, but also knowing his vast body of work of other films and the TV work he's done, and knowing the versatility that he can bring to the screen. Because what I knew with Leon was like I really needed to find somebody who can portray the sort of who has the acting chops, who's able to really pull it out, but also has a little bit of humor in it and has a big heart. And those were the three things that I really went in already when writing this, and when sort of really started to approach Tom for it. I was really just crossing my fingers. I was like, I really hope, Tom, you're gonna like the script. I really hope you're gonna read it and you're gonna like it. And I was very happy when he eventually called. Got this like, okay, he wants to meet. So I fly over to London, and we had a very nice meeting. We were just supposed to meet for about 15-20 minutes just to say hi and discuss a little bit. Ended up 2 hours talking, sharing thoughts about science fiction and film and everything. And already at that moment, I was like, this is, I really enjoyed my time with him. Also as a person, I was very happy to see when eventually I then finally got Lizzie and Tom together on the same room, and I was like just stepping back and watching, like, man, that chemistry, that synergy just sparked right away. And it was such a fun to work with these two, because they really brought that brother sister relationship alive in a way that I didn't have to say too much. I was like, you know what, you guys, you know what you do. This is great.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I mean, they definitely give up that big brother, little sister vibe. So maybe you might see them in some future adventures. Hints,
Absolutely.
maybe. Now the movie is great. Like I said, one big thing about it is the sets. They look fantastic. Now, were they sets or were they actual locations that you guys just turned into whatever you needed?
Well, actually, that was one of the main things when I started to really think about the world. Is I didn't want to build it in the studio. I've done a bunch of movies in the studio, and there is like a certain, a bit of an artificial touch to it very easily. I really wanted to feel real. So we did a huge, extensive location scouting and ended up in the city of Astana in Kazakhstan, which is basically, if you Google that, you will find it's basically a science fiction city. It's a science fiction setting like no other place in the whole world. Remember coming there, I was like, wow, this is crazy. They actually were supposed to shoot even Guardians of Galaxy over there back in the days, but then that didn't work out a long time ago. But that place, it is like a science fiction setting itself. You don't really need too much CGI even to add anything to it. And then I also needed this sort of a more brutalistic, more sort of a down to earth, dilapidated sort of environments, which also was available over there. So I was very happy that I was able to create the world from actual real environments that exist somewhere. And I think that brings it a little bit of tangibility to it, that it feels like it's not completely, a sci-fi mindset, but it actually is a place that could exist somewhere for real.
Yeah. I was gonna say they do look sci-fi, but real. Like you said, it looks like somewhere you could possibly visit, which you can, obviously. Now, did Tom Felton, did he take a cue from another Tom Cruise, and was he doing his own stunts, or did he leave that to the stunt people?
I think depending a little bit, but it's a combination, and mostly we had a very good stunt team which worked together with Tom. And then when things get really hairy, or like there's a big fall, or there's a big, very complicated thing or stuff like that, then Tom was obviously happy to step aside. And then they had a very cool guy who was Tom's sort of a stunt double, and that he was able to perform that stuff that was a little bit something that could have gotten a little bit dangerous, because of course security and the safety is the number one over there, and these guys are really professional. But that was a good synergy also, because like there was not like we didn't have to have any struggles on what is it that you want to do and what they want to do and data. We knew quite easily, quite right away, like, okay, this is good for you. This is something that maybe somebody else should do, just in case. something goes wrong, and it's an important decision to make.
Yeah. At least Tom knows how to make those business decisions, because I talked to a lot of filmmakers and actors, especially. That seems to be a thing again because of Tom Cruise. That seems to be what actors they want to do their own stunts, and they all say, "Well, Tom does it," and it's like, "Yeah, but you're not Tom Cruise." So.
Yeah, Tom does it. Tom also produces, and they got the money to relate. But the thing is, like, we have to remember that these stunt sequences, like, they are highly choreographed, highly trained professionals who can pull it not just safely, but also within a certain time frame. So you're able to focus more on bringing the character out from the actor if you get to work those moments with that. And then but again, this depends a little bit. There are definitely sequences where there's no reason to bring in an stunt, and it's just like fight in the kitchen, for example, in the movies. Like, nah, let's just, Tom is great in it. He loved doing that and just aced it. But yeah, some other stuff like falling from heights and everything, no need to take that risk.
Yeah. Now, Lizzie, for what's something that you learned from Tom Felton, either he told you directly or by watching him work, that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your career?
I think that the thing that is very special about Tom is that he's such a kind person, and I think that it is truly a miracle that through all his life, through his career, he kept that sincere kindness. And I think that the further you take it through your life, the better. And I really hope I'm going to do the same. And I want to be the same as Tom, to keep that sincere light inside of me, because Tom is actually a very he is such a kind and supportive person, and I think that that is so special about him.
Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned at the top, we've all seen how he was greeted when in his return to as Draco Malfoy. I don't think it was just for Draco. I think it was more for Tom, and everybody is exactly like you said, Lizzie. They know what kind of person he is. So great job again, both of you, on the film. All of you listening, you can learn more about the film at the link in the bio. Lizzie and Timo, thanks a lot for coming on and spending some time with us. And I wish you and your families a safe and happy holiday season.
Thank you very much, Henry.
Thank you
it was
so
very
much.
nice to be up there.
The movie again comes out this Friday. Links in the show description. Now, how about we do a little nerdy Navajo news? Actually, I got a better idea.
Now back to the Geek Speak Show. Here's Henry San Miguel.
Like, totally, even though we didn't go anywhere, we are back. And like I said, I have a better idea than the Navajo Northern News. I was going to have him do that, but I said, you know what? Hang on. We didn't do a show last week. It's going to be a short month. We're not going to do one next week. So let's do a nerdy Navajo News right now. First of all, it's not me. We're going to do nerdy Navajo News. Although I found out, we were talking about that the other night, I am indigenous. They did tell me this the other day, but let me bring somebody who is Navajo. I'm not Navajo. Shanclen is. Aho, young warrior.
Aho, happy to be here, Henry.
Although after your birthday, I'm not going to be able to call you young warrior for too much longer.
Give me probably another two years, I'd say.
Then
Once
he'll
I
be
hit the big 3-0, I'm not going to be young no more.
He'll be not quite an elder, but uncle status he'll hit.
I'm unk now.
But like I said, I was gonna. You have the script in front of you, but I thought, you know what? Let's do a mini issues of the day. We're gonna chop us in half, meaning don't get excited. Meaning you'll still be 6'5". We won't have the other two. We'll have us two, but not Mark and Trent from Geek Off the Street. So I'm gonna actually you do the first one because that's something that you like. You did see Godzilla minus one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something that you like. So go ahead. I got surprised. Actually, I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's like I tell them I have 20 heads when I tell them about this announcement you're about to tell them. Apparently, nobody saw it. So let him know what's been going on, what's going to be coming from the Godzillaverse.
Okay, are you all ready? Toho has officially confirmed the sequel to Godzilla -1 with a short logo reveal on stage. The title of the sequel is Godzilla -0, and it will once again be written and directed by Takashi Yamazaki. Yes, he will also be supervising the visual effects, having won an Oscar for his VFX work on -1. Godzilla -0 will hit theaters late 2026, but no story details or actors have been announced yet, unfortunately.
Well, I do have an update to that. I actually saw a story after I saw this one. He didn't say what or who, but the director, he did say, I do want Godzilla to fight another kaiju. So he didn't say who, but we will see him, Godzilla, fighting another kaiju. It just won't be like -1 where it was just Godzilla and that's it. You will see other monsters, which
humans versus Godzilla versus aliens versus
yeah. No, I mean, you saw how big and destructive Godzilla was in -1. That's what I liked about it. Now, if he's that big, then I want to see who he's going to fight, how big they're going to be, or what they're going to be. Because if you're going to bring in just a small little kaiju to fight, all he has to do is step on him, and not much of a fight after that. So, got to be something good. So, but yeah, but like I said, I mean, it's kind of surprising to me. I tell people, hey, you excited about Godzilla -0? And they look at me like, what? What is that? Like, where have you guys been? I thought you guys were geeks and you followed all this stuff. But then I remember we haven't done Nerdy Navajo News, so you didn't have a chance to tell them. Now they know. Now nobody should be surprised. Now you know. Now, this one actually, I got the press release, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of you should know this by now. The Lucas Museum of Narrative Art is going to debut in Los Angeles on September 22nd, 2026. Now, I will say, I'm not going to read you everything that says on the press release, but I will say this. Shanclen, I don't know if you want to make a trip over here, get your pony ready to come over to LA on September 22nd, because we, the Geek Speak Show, we as press, we've been invited to cover opening day, and that also means you're guaranteed a sit down with the maker, with George Lucas. Would you like to do that?
Do I get a free lightsaber?
No. Well, that's what I was gonna say actually. What you think about that? Because in the press release, and I don't know if all of you have seen that interview I did after that, he did say he's done with Star Wars. I mean, he didn't mince words. He played on simple. He said, I'm done with it. I moved on. And I get it. I mean, it's not his. He sold it to Disney. And Disney pretty much gave him the middle finger and said, get the hell out of here. Well, I have ideas. That's nice. You sold it to us. So he doesn't care. Now, I've always said, when I was living back in San Francisco, we have what's called the Walt Disney Family Museum. Now, when you go in there, it's all about Walt Disney's story, his family. But when you talk about Walt Disney, there's no way you can't talk about Mickey Mouse and Disneyland and everything that he created. Same thing here. Even though it's called the Museum of Narrative Art, I've already seen the day the press release came out. I already saw from a lot of people that we see in the interview rooms at Comic-Con, they right away said, well, I can't wait to talk to him about Star Wars. He doesn't want to talk about Star Wars. Just throwing that out there.
Definitely from a filmmaker's point of view, I do have a lot of questions as far as for how he creates his movie, like his thought process, and from beginning to end would be really cool to kind of learn. Is like, does everything come all at once, or does he create stuff as he goes and just build off of it? There's so many other amazing questions that you can ask him that doesn't really regard Star Wars, but he has made other movies that are really good too as well.
Yeah, I have a question that I definitely want to ask him. It has nothing to do with Star Wars or sci-fi. It actually has everything to do with art, which is the narrative art. I've talked to some filmmakers, and when I told them, I said, yeah, that's going to be a great question. I'm not going to say what it is here. I'll tell you when we turn off the mics, because everybody listening that is a creator is so creative that they're just going to copy what I do. That's how creative they are. So I'll save it till September 22nd. But the main thing is, don't speak of Star Wars when you go to that museum. And speaking of Star Wars, though, I don't know if you saw this story. Ever since Adam Driver revealed, I think it was right before Halloween, he revealed in an interview that Disney rejected a planned Ben Solo spin-off film. Star Wars fans, they've launched a full-blown campaign to try and get the film made. There's been online petitions, of course, posters. Remember those, like the milk cart? I don't know if you're old enough to remember the. Now we sound like Mark and Trent. Were you even born yet? But there used to be the, missing kids used to be on milk cartons, and then those posters. Have you seen my cat or this person or whatever?
Yeah. In
that style, there have been pictures of Ben Solo all across cities in the U.S. There have been, big one, earlier this week in Burbank. That's where the Walt Disney Company's, their headquarters is located. There was a plane, some fan, I don't know if it's fans or not, I'm just saying, but a fan will say they hired a plane, the ones that fly with banners behind them. Usually it's for like proposals, will you marry me or something? They did that. They flew it over the Burbank headquarters of Walt Disney with a plane that had a banner saying shareholders want the hunt for Ben Solo. That was the name of the movie. Now, I know you like Star Wars, so do I. Answer honestly. Do you want to see this movie?
No.
Yeah, no, me either. See, and I thought people didn't like Rise of Skywalker and they were done with it, but now they want the hunt for Ben Solo.
I mean, and that's something that I want, something new. Like, I'm sorry, but kind of building off a trilogy that kind of failed, at least in my opinion.
Well, wait. Here, let me do some self-editing, or you do self-editing. Take out the kinda.
Okay. A trilogy that did fail. Why would I want to go see a spinoff of it? And kind of nothing they can really do will actually fix what the damage that has been done. And that's just, for me, a spinoff should be adding to greatness, not potentially making it worse. Or, instead of a movie that focuses on being something new and creative, I would just imagine that they're just going to try to fix plot holes inside of the movies. Yeah, so I'm just like, no, I just want something new already.
I'm going to tease something that you're going to hear in the finale, only because it's relevant to this story. Are you, Shanclen, are you excited about Mandalorian and Grogu, the movie, next year?
Kind of. I would have to say I'm 50-50 on it. See, like how I said, season 3 was kind of meh. They could have done a lot more with it. It didn't really have the Mandalorian flair with it. They've kind of lost their steam and momentum with it. And honestly, I would have been a lot more happy with it if they went into the mixture of the Ahsoka series and Mando coming together to fight Thrawn. I think that would be cool. I'm not too sure if that's going to lead up to that. We'll see. But yeah.
I think that's being saved for Ahsoka season 2 or 3 or whatever season they're on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree that since they set it up with Mando, it should continue with him. And really, I blame season 2, because season 2, in my opinion, was one of the best seasons. I know season 1, everybody loved it, but season 2 was one of the best seasons, and I don't think you could get any better than what you got in season 2.
This is one thing that really upset me about movies these days is bringing back old villains. They did that with the latest trilogy of somehow Palpatine survived. They did that with the Avatar movies, and they brought back Moff Gideon, and I'm like, God, you guys can't make a new villain? Like, that's one thing that is, it kind of lessens the villains when you bring them back, because you already know they can be defeated. They got beat once, and so they're just gonna come back and get beat again, and it kind of reduces the thrill and mystery of what this evil villain could actually do and what new threats could they pose onto the main characters.
Let me go back to 2012. We did you guys can go into the archives, you can listen to that show, the day of capital T, capital A, the announcement when Star Wars was sold to Disney. I remember we had a big episode, a Geek Speak episode with the crew at the time. I didn't ask you because I hadn't met you guys yet, but let me ask you a question that came up then. Because we were excited about the sell, and then they announced there's new Star Wars movies coming. We didn't know yet what they were going to be, but I was the first to say, and again, you can listen to it, it's recorded. I was the first to say, that's cool, but I don't want to see a Sith as a villain again. We've seen that already in 2 series now. Now for you, like you're saying, you want something real. Do you want to see a Sith or a Dark Jedi as a villain again, or do you want something completely new?
It depends, because how they have done the Sith, I've mentioned this on previous Geek Speak show episodes. My bucket list thing I want to see is an army of Sith and then an army of Jedi just going at each other. That is my bucket list I want to see. And no, lighthearted, I want to see limbs flying everywhere. I want to see burn marks. I want to see people get fried with lightning hands and electrical shocks and stuff. That would be cool. Or involve a new threat to the galaxy that makes the Jedi weaker, I guess you can say, in their minds or in the Force, that challenges them of their way that they fight evil and darkness in the galaxy.
So we'll see what comes from. I don't think this hunt for Ben Solo is gonna happen. And if they are, then we'll know that, as Obi-Wan once said to Anakin, Disney, then you are lost if you do make this Ben Solo movie.
I just want to say real quick, no hate to Adam Driver at all. He's a really great actor. It's just the story he was given ruined it.
Well, it's not hate for him, but I will say he ruined it also. He had a hand in it because, it's kind of like, I'll use a sports analogy. I wish one of your guys, Coach Avery, he's a football coach, he would understand this analogy. When you play quarterback, if you have a great season, you have a great quarterback. When you don't win anything, your quarterback sucks. You need a new quarterback. So same thing here. You blame the director, yes, but also the actor. You can't always use the excuse, well, they can only they can only work with what they were given in the script. We never say that about Robert De Niro or Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks or any of these iconic actors. Because, yeah, sometimes they were, in the beginning of their careers, they were given some pretty crappy roles. But their iconicness, I guess that's a word now, their iconicness came out through, that's what made them Robert De Niro and these iconic actors. So, yeah, a little bit of the blame does go on the actors, too. So it's not all just, it's not their fault.
Just a smidge. I'm still upset that he killed Han Solo, so.
Well, that's JJ and the writers. But we don't know what's going to happen with that Star Wars. One thing we do know now for sure, I mean, we kind of had an idea, but now we have a clearer idea. In the other franchise that has Star in the name, Star Trek, Paramount Pictures made 2 Star Trek announcements last week. Maybe you didn't notice it quietly. First, the Kelvinverse is officially done. So that means there's going to be no more films or anything really set in the J.J. Abrams universe anymore. That was it. Star Trek Star Trek Beyond, which was the last one, that was it. No more. The second announcement is that Paramount has just hired Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley to write, produce, and direct a completely new Star Trek movie. Not series, not spin-off, not one shot, a movie. Now, this movie is going to have no ties to any of the previous movies or shows, including the original series, nor to any in-development projects. So that means it's not tied into Strange New Worlds or any of the new shows that have been announced coming. This is completely new. And if you're wondering, well, who are these guys? Goldstein and Daley. They're the team that wrote Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. If any of you saw that movie with Chris Pine, with Captain Kirk. And they also wrote all the Spider-Man movies but they started with Spider-Man Homecoming. And John Francis Daley, I've always liked him writing the Spider-Man movies and these kind of movies because did you ever watch or have you seen a show called Freaks and Geeks?
Heard of it, but never watched it.
Yeah, it came out in the early '90s. I want to say it was like a one hit thing. It never got any more than one season. But everybody who became anybody was in that. John Francis Daly, he played the little brother Sam Weir in Freaks and Geeks, and he grew up to be this superstar producer and writer of things like Dungeons and Dragons and the Spider-Man movies. And also in the Spider-Man movies, another co-star from Freaks and Geeks, Martin Starr, who played Bill in Freaks and Geeks, he's Mr. Harrington, the teacher, the nerdy teacher. Like, if you ever wondered what a grown-up version of the Bill character, well, you can watch the Spider-Man movies. That's what it's like. So the fact that they're doing this, writing this, I'm okay with that. I am worried as a Star Trek fan. For this one, I would need Mark, because I think you and Trent, you're not as familiar with Star Trek as Mark and I are. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about this because it's them, but I am worried because it's something completely new. And the last time we got that was, well, JJ's, although there was a little bit of this and that thrown in, and we know where that went. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. I mean, for now, we still have at least 2 more seasons of Strange New Worlds for all of our Star Trek needs. But the JJ-verse officially over, done, no more. And we have a new Star Trek movie coming. We just don't know what it's going to be yet. Now, speaking of movies, we were going to talk about this last week, but we didn't get to do an episode. Another little movie came out called Predator Badlands. I think I told you they had a big presence all over Comic-Con this year. Alien and Predator, they were all over Comic-Con. Like last year, we had a Deadpool everywhere. This year was the year of Alien and Predator. It was pretty cool, actually. We've seen it, and we're going to get into spoilers here. Those of you that haven't seen it by now, well, you probably don't want to see it. You would have seen it by now. Those of you that did want to see it, you've probably seen it a few times by now. So you know what we're about to talk about. I already know, but since they don't, let's hear it from you. When you went to see it, what did you say when you first came out of the theater?
That was a bad A movie. Not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying it was a good movie. So like I don't know, we're kind of a little bit light on the cussing here, but yes, I enjoyed Predator Badlands, except for one aspect of the movie, and that is they gave the Predator feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it later, like the next day after you saw it. But when he called me as soon, I think it was right when you came out of the theater, or when was it?
Yeah, it was that evening when I got back home from the theater is when I gave you a call, and I was like, Henry, have you seen the new Predator Badlands movie?
Yeah, I said, no, not yet. Don't spoil anything. And he didn't, but he did. That is the first thing you pointed out. I was like, I don't like they gave him feelings. I don't know what he was talking about because I hadn't seen it yet, but now that I have seen it, I don't know if it's, well, I guess it is feeling, but I don't know if you could call it feelings, but I see it more as not feelings, but personality, because if it was just the usual Predator, we wouldn't really care about his story, whether he died or didn't die. If the big one, I forget what he was called, if he had killed him, we would have been like, he's a predator, he dies. But because we cared about the character, we didn't want him to. At least I didn't. I didn't want him to die. I wanted him to survive.
If anything, not so much feelings, but like gave him patience. And as far as for interacting with characters, Bud, what was his name? Bud?
Yeah,
the little
alien thing.
Kalisk, yeah, the baby Kalisk.
That's what it's called, Kalisk.
Yeah, he's and then just his interactions with Thea too. Like, I get the whole thing about like, okay, you're not a human, so you're not technically helping me as an actual living being. I'm gonna use you as a tool. But like I got that, I understood that, cool, kind of going through the whole thing, but then toward the end. After, spoilers, everybody, if you guys haven't seen that, you need to go watch this.
We warned you.
We warned you. But at the end, after his father he got his head eaten off, and he was all like, I have my own clan. And I understand the Bud, the Kalisk, but keeping Thea around and stuff, I don't really see the point of keeping her around, other than, he grew a bond with this person or this synthetic. And before I actually watched this movie, I shared this on the Geek Speak show that I started reading comics, and those comics were of the Predator universe. And so I started watching Predator Kills the Marvel Universe. I started reading other stuff that goes outside of just killing the superheroes, but actual Predator lore that goes into Predator Blood, Black, White, and Blood, Predator Last Hunt, other different comics. And going into that, I learned a lot of the mannerisms of what predators do and what predators hunt, what predators, how they live their everyday lives. And with them, I understand why they added that more in there, just because, like how you said, if it was just like another predator that didn't have any, I guess you could say, character growth, character development, and depth within his character, a lot of audiences wouldn't like that. So I guess you could say like they gave him those aspects to be able to reach a broader audience. Cool, but for me, as a true kind of Predator fan, Yaoja fan, yeah, I didn't really 100% like the aspect. But don't get me wrong, still a good movie, still a great movie.
Yeah, see, now I can tell you this part, because I saw all of that, especially the end, a little bit different. And I tied it in. To me, it was more personal, meaning I was thinking more of you the whole time, you, Shanclen, because as the story went on, especially when we got to the end, like when you, like what you just said, when he talked about I made my own clam, I saw that completely different. I saw it as Thea is basically the replacement for his brother, because it was obvious his brother, even though he was ordered to take him out because he's considered the runt. Deck is considered the runt. He's considered the loser, basically, of his family, the clan, the Yautja. He's not going to be a predator like what we know. He's just going to, well, if he gets killed, so what? Like he said, his dad will be happy anyway. If he dies, he'll be happy anyways. What do you want? So I saw the end when he said, I made my own clam, as that's his new big brother, if you will. Thea was the replacement for that, and then the little, it wasn't that little at the end, but the little, what is it? What are they called?
Calisk.
Yeah, I want to keep saying calico. It's not calico. That's a cat. Yeah, but that is his new family. Really, he says clan, but it's his new family. But then this is where it really reminded me of you guys when I first met you, your brother, and your original team. I remember we were talking one night, not on the air. We were just talking, conversation with us, and you guys mentioned, because I said, yeah, you guys are great warriors, and it's cool to see how you guys do your paranormal investigations, and there's no fear, none of that. And I remember clearly all of you really said, if you think we're scary, you should see our mothers and our women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me think of when Mom shows up at the end. That I thought of you guys, what you said, and I said, okay, if this goes in that direction, where now we're going to see what a badass mom is, I might want to see that. I might want to see that kind of movie. That's how I saw all at the end.
That's what makes me so excited for the sequel to this movie, because for those of you who do know and don't know the Yautja culture, female Yautjas are bigger, stronger, and smarter than male Yautjas. So it's going to be crazy, because they don't normally involve themselves with, they consider male Yautja politics and stuff very meaningless to them. So for her to actually show up at the end of this movie just makes me question, somebody done messed up, or something bad or big is happening and she needs help. So, and then if a female Yautja is calling the assistance of her son or her husband, the father who is now deceased, it's going to be interesting to see what the storyline is for that. And one thing I do love about this movie too, as well, is he set it in the future, way distant future. So it doesn't have to really tie into anything. It was kind of like its own standalone movie, which was really good. soundtrack, everything. Like hats off to the person that made the soundtrack and the music for this, because it really, I love when composers make movie or music for the universe that matches it very nicely, and they did a very great job.
Yeah, it definitely brings you into the movie. So I'll say now, I wasn't going to say it till later, a couple of things about the Geek Speak show, some house cleaning. The number one, just because I'm just tired, it's been a long year. I want to end it early, so probably like the first or second week in December, we'll do the finale. And I also, for those, especially for you long-time listeners of the Geek Speak show, and there's a lot of you, I'm going to bring some, I brought the book club back. I'm going to bring back something else that I used to do, how we ended the season. Then you guys liked it. You loved it. That was the Geek Speak award show. If you remember, if you were there from the very beginning, and when we did the show live, I called it the Geek Speak Blankety Blank Awards, only because we were live and I didn't come up with anything clever on the air, and the name just stuck. So we're going to bring it back, and how I want to do it is, we were going to do video, but just because, like I said, I just want to finish the year early. We're just going to keep it a regular audio show, and it'll be Shanclen and I, of course, but I also want to bring in the other boys, Mark and Trent, and maybe some surprise guests, because in case, there's a tie or something, we're going to need a tiebreaker. So we'll bring in some guests that will be the tiebreakers, unless they start another argument about, no, it should be this movie, it should be this show, or this video game. And it'll just be a fun way to end the year and look back at what was good, what was bad. We do the WTF award, so we will talk about the worst. I think this year's pretty obvious which one it was. Ice Cube. That's just a little hint, but we'll see. Maybe it was another one. But we'll do that coming up in the first or second week of December. But before we get out of here for today, I just mentioned the book club. Do you have a new book?
Yes, I do.
Because I actually don't. So, but hey, before you say anything, let's do this right.
This is the Geek Speak Show Book Club. In here, you'll find books new and old, comic books, graphic novels.
Okay, yeah, we get it. This is a book club. So let's get right to you. What is your book? Wait, let me guess. Is it a comic book?
A collection of comic books. Actually, it is a
It's
trade
still a
paperback.
comic book.
Yes, just a lot of them all put together.
Baby steps. See, I'll say, I haven't told Shanclen, I'll say it publicly now. I got excited when he said, I'm reading comic books now, I'm collecting them. I'm hoping that's the gateway to books, actual books.
I mean, this right here is actually, I would have to say maybe 50, 60 pages. So, yeah, I guess you can consider this one a book, actually. So, yeah, so this one that I have here, I'm going to be sharing is, of course, like I mentioned, I'm into the Predator universe right now. So this one right here is called Predator, the Theta Saga. So this is a trade paperback that has a collection of Predator from 2022, issues number 1 through 6 of Predator 2023, and issues number 1 through 5 of Predator: The Last Hunt, and issues number 1 through 4 of all those. So pretty much it's a collection of a whole series that's tied together about siblings that lose their family to predators, and they dedicate their lives to hunt down and try to fight the Yaoja that killed their family. Yeah.
See, I was only half listening. I'm trying to figure out how you take a picture with this thing, because that's I mean, you guys listen, you can't see us, but I'm watching Shanclen. He's holding the book. He's got it open. I think that would be the only time I will ever get a picture of him actually holding a book open. It's a graphic novel, yes, but it's the closest we'll get to it.
Every full moon, I open this and I actually read. I go to the furthest reaches of the world where no one will see me, and I read.
Yeah, but I'll put a link to that in case some of you are getting interested, because he is making him sound exciting. Like they are, but he's making him sound excited. So if you want to read what Shanclen has been reading, again, I'll put a link on the book club page on the Geek Speak website, thegeekspeakshow.com, if you're not there already. So before we get out of here, you like doing this. This is your favorite part. Let them know where they can follow what you're doing when you're not speaking geek over here.
So when I'm not speaking geek here at the Geek Speak Show, I have 2 channels that I run. One paranormal and the other one non-paranormal, pretty much everything else. Those channels are Shanclen Shadow Productions and Shanclen Shadow Lodge. And all my other social medias will be in the link tree that Henry will provide the show description. So go follow me there. You guys want to know exactly what I'm doing? Go follow me on all my social medias where I keep everybody updated. Yes.
And that is it. Next week, I haven't confirmed, but I do have a guest. I won't say what. Next week there won't be an episode because it's going to be Thanksgiving, and everybody wants to eat and watch football, and just relax before you go out. And do people still go out shopping Black Friday, or does everybody just do everything online now?
I think everything's online now. I saw this one TikTok a couple weeks ago of a clip from the early 2000s of people fighting and mopping over TVs in a mall. And everyone was saying how they miss those days.
You're crazy. I don't miss those days. Let's show my age. Yeah, I'll be relaxing. Whatever you guys are doing for Thanksgiving, be safe if you're traveling to be with family. Have safe travels. Come back in a couple of weeks, and we will speak more geek. Like I said, we're gonna do maybe 1, 2, but definitely we're gonna end the season within the first 2 weeks of December, and then again it's gonna end with the Star Wars, with the Geek Speak Award show, where we pick the best movies, the best TV shows, the best comics, video games, and yes, the WTF award also comes back, the worst movie of the year. Again, I think this year's pretty easy, but we'll see. We'll see who the nominees are. All of that coming up after the Thanksgiving break. Everybody be safe, have fun, and come back in a couple of weeks, and we'll speak even more geek.
Hook on it.
While you wait, you can learn more about the show and the guests at thegeekspeakshow.com. Follow the show on social media at GeekC on Instagram, The Geek Speak Show on TikTok and Facebook, and Geek Speak videos on YouTube. If you want to be on the show or have any questions or comments, send an email to geek.speak@gmx.com. Henry and Shanclen will return next week with an all-new episode of The Geek Speak Show.
The Geek Speak Show was produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.